Good morning, I'm Neva Manu, and this is your morning news fix for Friday, 9th of February. In this update, the National Road Carriers Association says moving away from fuel tax towards time of use charging is a great first step in creating better infrastructure. The Auckland Regional Fuel Tax will be scrapped from the end of June. Association Policy and Advocacy General Manager James Smith says the tax wasn't properly funding roads, and he says the next step needs to be thinking for the future.
Take it a longer term view, get a proper pipeline of work so you can get proper contractor management in place and you can lower your costs.
A new whistleblowing tool for players in the grocery sector to report any concerns about supermarkets. The Grocery Commission is launching the tool so it can act on any instances of mistreatment, unfair use of power or any breaches of the Grocery Supply Code. Commissioner Pierre van Heerden says it uses state-of-the-art data privacy so people's identities are protected. And he says the major supermarkets have also confirmed any suppliers who come forward won't be in breach of any obligations. GP advocacy groups say funding issues are approaching crisis levels. Many GPs are hiking their prices as government funding fails to keep up with rising costs. GenPro chairman Angus Chambers told Mike Hosking GP clinics receive different subsidies for different patients.
But one of the troubles is it doesn't take the age really into complexity that much. I get the same amount of money for a 65-year-old as I do for a 95-year-old, and I think you can appreciate a 95-year-old requires a lot more input.
Health Minister Shane Reti agrees the funding model is not fit for purpose and he's looking forward to receiving advice on a sustainable solution. A new Australian law is set to allow workers to enjoy their time away from work without feeling they're constantly on call. The right to disconnect will allow employees to refuse unreasonable contact from their employers outside of their work hours. In this country, Council of Trade Unions President Richard Wagstaff says in the digital age, there's a tendency for workers to be unable to escape from work. And he says a lot of employees are effectively on call by there being an expectation they'll pick up the phone if their boss calls. Wagstaff says the law basically says you don't have to pick up the phone, and if you do, you should be compensated for it. Uncertainty continues to plague Mount Ruapehu's future as a skiing destination. Whakapapa Holdings has pulled its bid on the Whakapapa side of the mountain, claiming there's not enough Crown funding. It comes as a conditional agreement for Pure Tudoa to run the Tudoa ski field has been signed. Former Ruapehu Snow Sports Secretary Tony Gavigan told Mike Hosking the current funding model needs to stay with Crown funding.
Nobody in private sector is going to put in the sort of capital that's required and make the annual commitment that's required unless they've got tenure.
In sport, the medals for the Paris Olympics and Paralympics have been released, featuring scrap metal taken from the Eiffel Tower. The latest Commonwealth Games hypothesis is that Australia could co-host the 2026 edition with other countries as the scramble continues to save the event. Hosts China have beaten the New Zealand women's basketballers 94-47 in the first game of the Olympic qualifiers. And the British Formula One Grand Prix will continue at Silverstone until at least 2034. I'm Neva Manu, and that's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at midday from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.